on top of those systems. So it is a moment to modernize, and FP&A can lead the way. I want to take a moment to talk about this technical disadvantage. So because every organization has so many different disparate systems, usually FP&A is using a few that they download sources from. 93% of finance teams don't use one software. 94% are using software from different vendors, which is leading to this 98%. So almost all finance teams experience data integration challenges, which is shocking as a data practitioner who's watched these amazing data technologies make it so easy to integrate and ingest basically live data. And I think the reason why this has lasted so long is also because most of these teams have no dedicated data resources. The point I'm trying to make today is not that FP&A teams should each have their own data teams. It's that FP&A teams themselves are capable of owning some of that infrastructure if it was simply designed to support them based on their expertise. So this challenge, it's led to kind of a unique technical cost, because what's happened is your most talented and thoughtful financial employees or people on the teams that are doing the work that actually powers your business have been forced to spend so much of their time. We'll talk about how much of that time in just a moment. We'll switch to a poll, doing manual work. And I think that when we think about the future of AI, it's really great to be excited about what's possible and the ways that it can automate away manual tasks for the entire organization. But just simply trying to remove the number of hours and the number of errors connected to those manual hours that FP&A teams spend gathering, cleaning, and validating data is something that I'm really focused on right now, and I think is a really good opportunity. And as we think about AI, there's a lot of fear of missing out, what other companies are doing. Everyone claims they're doing it better, faster than the next. But realistically, finance is just entering the arena. And how can they do so in a way that is most effective and helps them catch up from what we've seen over the past 10 years, where yes, they're doing data work, but only in Excel, or from downloading in different systems, and there's very limited technologies that exist. So I'm going to ask this question: how long are you spending gathering data? I want an answer on a monthly basis. I will jump out of the slides so that Goja can put a poll into the chat. And there should be like a multiple choice here. Yeah. And I'll just give it 15 seconds. I really appreciate the way that this comes through. Yeah. Cool. So we can immediately see, keep voting here. But gathering data, and what I'm referring to is downloading spreadsheets from disparate systems and then getting those spreadsheets to match up, cleaning the data in those spreadsheets to the point where you can turn over a monthly report. If you're a public company, it's really important for your quarterly numbers to be shown, whatever that is. Okay. I'll give it one more minute. But regardless, this is where I want it to be. As you can see here, we can sum this up. It looks like 97%, between 96 and 97% of folks who voted here, and we've got quite a few in. It's great to see all of the participation, are spending more than 2 hours. But the majority, 70-80%, are spending between 5 and 10 plus. 26% are spending more than 10, which is wild considering what's possible, but also very, very common. You're in good company, and you can see that is this. So this is a big challenge. So how do we change this? How do we think about ways to impact this? And I'll talk at the end about, wait, actually, we'll finish. Okay. Yeah, now the poll is finished. So everyone can kind of see what's happening here. A lot of time FP&A teams are spending, and my numbers, most FP&A teams say that 40 to 70% of their week So we talked about it on a monthly basis, but 40 to 70% of your week spent manually gathering data when you have degrees in accounting, when these are high level professionals that could be doing actual analytical work, um, is not where we want to be in 2025. But there are steps you can take to getting to that next phase. And I really like to focus on this problem because it is one that technology has in many ways solved for. I'll go back. So, what I think modern finance teams actually need is more support from a tooling perspective. And the reason being, we're going to talk about efficiency, accuracy, and scale. What I've seen in working with FP&A teams is that as their organizations succeed, the only way that they can accommodate for new work is by actually hiring more people to do that manual work. So this layer of analysis is only ever really 25% of folks' time. Most of it is still spent just gathering those numbers, which is not as interesting a job for people. It doesn't help with retention, and it doesn't drive the bottom line for the business. So one way to think about it, and my team does this a lot, is like, what would it mean for FP&A to build their own data power center? So a data power center, in my opinion, means direct access to live data, because all of the source systems that you use, these are just examples of some: NetSuite, Stripe, could be some manual Excel, could be Salesforce, QuickBooks, whatever it is. Most of those applications, all of those applications have live data sources that could be connected to one another in the cloud. Does this mean you need to hire a data team to run a cloud warehouse for you? No. There's a lot of technologies that make this really straightforward, and a lot of your organizations may already have a cloud warehouse that's run by some other part of the group that you could be looped into. So collaboration is really important too. But the number one thing about gathering data, it starts with ingestion. So FP&A teams, we believe, should have some capability to have live ingestion and own it themselves, make connections to the data ingestion if they're buying a new tool, so that those source systems are in that spreadsheet to begin with. That's just the first step. So once you've got all of your data in one place, and something that looks like this is an example of something we have in our product, but there's a lot of products out there that do similar things, ways that you can build data sets from different data sources into one. That is a capability that could change the way these FP&A teams and all of your organizations operate very, very quickly by reducing that time that we just saw in the poll immediately. And that time can be spent in so many ways to impact the bottom line. Headcount is a very easy way, like headcount avoidance when it comes to scale, but just being able to join your data together. That's the data gathering part of it. But we know this, everyone here knows this, the data gathering part isn't that's like really step one. It does take a lot of time from finance teams, but the next step is cleaning and validating that data. So there are so many ways that AI can support you, because the way that you clean and validate numbers each month, it can understand, it can recognize, it can suggest checks. You will still need to be the owner. We're talking about human in the loop AI. This isn't AI that will replace an FP&A individual completely, but AI that could empower every single person on your team to be that 25% or 45% more efficient, so that they can focus on more meaningful work. And when you think about that from a company scale, it's very easy to back into dollar amounts that go upwards from $500,000, $500,000 up, like very, very clear. If you could have all of your live data in a single place, join those data sets together and be told what kind of checks show where there are gaps, that would immediately change things. The next step is automation of sending out clean reports. So once your reports are cleaned, you could then schedule it so that you're not spending a ton of time plugging in the numbers to that same spreadsheet each month, or that PowerPoint presentation if you need to send it over, or even a dashboard. All of that is possible. And when we think about P&L automation and reporting, we're seeing that across the spectrum be something that finance teams can do more and more of. There are technologies that can help you with this, and there are also processes that could be set up. And the last piece is data quality. So there's the basic checks when you join things together, but when you see that there is an error, the questions that FP&A teams get: what's driving my general ledger? These are things that should be at your fingertips if the data consolidation piece, cleaning piece is all happening at the cloud storage layer, right? If everything's happening in the cloud, you could actually then start applying LLMs and some sort of AI natural language analytics agent to give you answers that then you can feed over to all of your stakeholders. And that's when it goes from 45% to 75% changes in efficiency. And I'll talk about that for a second because the status quo today is that 75% of analyst time is still spent pulling together monthly reporting. And this is usually the moment where we've connected with an FP&A team and they're struggling with this, and only 25% is spent responding to questions. That leaves almost no time for analysis. Because so much work is being done by hand, accuracy is limited. There's a lot of fat finger errors. There's a lot of issues where even if you're the one that ran the numbers last month, can you run them again next month? This is all like ripe for automation. And I spoke about this earlier. I think one of the most meaningful ways that FP&A can be affected by AI and drive change is as their businesses succeed, they don't need to hire junior analysts to do that manual work. They can leverage technology to take care of that manual work and then make more sophisticated analytics hires that will actually understand and change the way they're thinking about growth. What we've seen is if you're able to automate centralization, cleaning, and reconciliation into a single source of truth. I could have asked a question like how many people feel like they have a single source of truth. That's really important, something FP&A must own. um, they can change the efficiency of the entire organization. That means that accuracy is being handled um, at least 50% to 70% by the technology. So data issues are flagged immediately. They don't wait for someone internally to find them, and they get routed immediately to whoever is closing the books so that your FP&A team can scale and focus on the strategic initiatives. Um, I'm really happy to get into all of this and talk more offline. I want to leave 5 minutes for questions. Um, this is my email, which everybody can write to me at. This is an image that AI has created for us, thinking about from spreadsheets to data lakes, this evolution. I thought it was an interesting thing to show. I think there's a lot of these images going around. What I want to leave everyone with today is the idea that you're not behind. Everyone is actually in this same boat in a lot of ways, and you can wrangle data and start moving forward today and make a real impact and be an organization that is leading change, and that you're all really well positioned as data experts to take on more sophisticated data technology that's actually been around for a while, just has never sat directly in the hands of finance.